Welcome to the Tom Bernard Podcast with the family and
co-host Catherine Bryant.
Andy Bryant Bernard.
And Kristen Burt.
Kristen Burt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Catherine asked me something on the way here today. Kristen, I got to run this by you because it's all about media. We have streaming services like there's no tomorrow, of course. And then some people still have cable. Why would they have both?
I think a lot of people don't realize that they can probably get their local broadcast channels other ways, through the internet or through lower cost things like YouTube Live and things like that. So
or an antenna.
An antenna. Yeah, I can't use the antenna. Like, it depends on where you live.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Huh, that's surprising.
I'm in a condo complex.
Yeah, I suppose.
So for a lot of people, the antenna is not a good solution. So we've tried, but I think for a lot of people, they just don't realize that they can still have a lower monthly entertainment bill.
Does that bother you that radio and television, local broadcast TV are just hitting the rocks? It's really too bad.
Here in Los Angeles, local TV is thriving. It's been really good. Unfortunately, because we've had a lot of really bad things happen.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's been one of those things. But I would say I think a lot of markets are really seeing a lot of downsizing going on. It's so funny that you mentioned this, but we're really going to see something interesting happening. And yesterday, Netflix announced that they're going to start broadcast channels in France beginning next summer. So they've developed a partnership with TF1, which does all of the local channels in France, and they're going to integrate it into Netflix for French subscribers. And I'm like, it is just a matter of time before that happens here. France is going to be the test case, and that will be the number one killer of cable. It's going to be Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be the end of cable, won't it? No question.
Yeah. I'm surprised cable's still around, to be honest.
Well, there's things like, I don't know if, Kristen, you have an HOA, right, in a condo?
Yes.
So is cable included with your HOA? It isn't.
That's not a very common thing. That's a very Florida thing. I know this only because my brother worked for Comcast for a long time, and he did. He would go and sell the cable package way back in the day when he's not with Comcast anymore, but he would sell the cable package to new communities in the Southeast region. And I'm like, that is not a thing here in Los Angeles.
Maybe it's because of, at one time, the only people that moved to Florida were seniors.
Yeah,
and they didn't want to, they probably didn't want to do anything but what they've always done, and that would be cable. Now there's so many people moving into Florida from every age group. But our complex isn't that old, and it still makes us pay for cable every month, which I don't really like. Yeah. It's not like you can opt out. It's just part of your thing, and that's it.
When I lived in Minneapolis in my townhouse, it was a townhouse, right? Technically.
Yep.
Yeah. Cable was included in the HOA fees.
Yeah.
And that was that was like 7 years ago.
Well, they probably...
Was it a newer complex?
No.
It was.
I mean,
downtown?
It had been renovated and stuff, but it was built probably quite some time ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't have to be new or old. They can just say, "Sorry, Comcast, we're not going to be part of this program anymore."
Yeah.
Well, maybe they
Los
make
Angeles
money
too.
off
There's
of
so
it.
many different options for services. I think that it just didn't make sense in Los Angeles, but definitely wasn't a thing in New York when I lived there either.
Interesting.
Actually, it wasn't when I lived in Minnetonka either, because I lived in a large apartment complex. That was not part of my deal either.
Huh.
So it's interesting. Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah, I talk to people in the TV news, and that viewing is way down.
Yeah.
Radio, that's way down. I mean, it's not a lot of great stuff happening.
Well, and online,
everything.
You guys drive in together?
No.
They walk in together.
The elevator,
Michael Bryant and Alex just walk in.
Yeah, he can come in. Or she can come in here. I mean,
Good gracious.
it all works
I was
out.
going to say that in terms of even websites, everything is down because Google is prioritizing AI as the top of the search.
Yes, they are.
And driving down all of the articles where they are mining the data. And so it's affecting advertising on every single website out there. It doesn't matter who you are. people are really struggling, and we're going to see massive layoffs continuing, not just in journalism, but any type of business that's operating or functioning off of website Google search and SEO. I just know Us Weekly just did another round of layoffs, and you've got publications closing. I was just at an event last night. I was at the premiere for Countdown with publicists and journalists, and everyone's like, it is dire out there. Like, not even like, oh, this is looking bad. Like, everyone was just like, I don't know what everyone's going to do.
But is that even fair? Because AI can be manipulated by just how many Google searches there are and articles that are out. So people could just plant a ton of stuff.
It can also just be, it doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. It just knows what it sees. So it's very frequently wrong about things.
Yeah, you know what's crazy about this age of misinformation? We had politics driving, this is fake news, when people were actually giving accurate news that was being vetted. But that started creating like people's minds of like everything is fake. And then people stopped going to these news sites. And now we don't have a lot of these resources anymore. And now you have AI actually driving misinformation. And I think we're in for a world of hurt in terms of all of that.
I have a question for you. How many people right now are employed by radio stations, TV stations, cable companies? I mean, that's got to be millions of people, isn't it? What the hell are they going to do
across
for a
the country?
job?
Yeah, probably is.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they going to do for a living?
I even think about it when, I know this sounds crazy, but even just like when I was in the home shopping world, I was working for Shop NBC, there were so many, there was a channel in Tennessee, you had HSN in Florida, you had QVC in Pennsylvania, and then a couple others, startups. And HSN just closed their Florida campus.
Did they really?
And they've consolidated because they're owned by the same company. They've consolidated to Pennsylvania studios, but they laid off 900 people in the Tampa St. Pete area.
Wow.
All working in television for decades. These were people that had that job for decades. And I go, where are they going? What are they doing?
Well, just look at KQ. What, 5 years ago?
5 years ago.
How many salespeople they had, and they
it was
had
the highest
this.
rated station in America.
Now they're sharing the general manager, and they're sharing this, and most of the sales staff is gone. The engineers are gone. I mean,
what happened is like what's happening with everything else. These piggish cluster billionaires buy everything, take all the money, and shut it down.
Yeah, private equity.
Equity.
I think private equity and AI are going to be the biggest job killers in the next 2 to 3 years. I don't even want to say, I'm not even putting 5 or 10 years on this because, when one of the AI CEOs was like, it will be average. He said it wouldn't be surprising to see 20% unemployment because AI is coming for your jobs. Amazon just said, hey, we are going to be downsizing significantly our corporate teams and AI will be taking over. And they just announced that 2 days ago. And they said it's starting at the end of this year and it'll continue the next couple of years.
what I don't understand is a corporation like Amazon's got all the money in the world. All the money in the world. That guy's making how much money every single year? Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Why not just pay people?
Because they want to be more efficient and make more money.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
When's it enough money for these guys?
It's never enough because Jeff Bezos, for the amount of money that he has, he does not give enough away. And his ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott, has been giving away billions of dollars.
Yeah, she has.
She's been doing a really good job. Obviously, Microsoft chairman, Bill Gates, he's like, my kids are not getting a lion's share of my fortune. He's like, I'm giving it away. They have to earn their own income.
Plus, with the consumer, they're expecting things faster and they're expecting it to be more accurate.
Do they want jobs?
But they don't. I think it's as simple as like people at the grocery store that like go to the non-person who's not, so they can just run their own stuff through because it's faster versus making sure that they keep people's jobs. They don't care about that. They care more about efficiency and speed and getting stuff done. I do.
I go to the self-checkout lane, and I'll tell you why. I don't like to talk to people.
No,
oh my God!
Well, I go to the self-checkout.
That's what she does for a living.
Right.
But,
I talk for a living, and sometimes I'm so drained. No, this is honestly like a mental health thing where you just go,
Is that what
I
you're
need
saying?
to just go through.
You're drained from working with me.
No, I'm talking because I talk all day. Like yesterday, I went from here, then I wrote an article, and then I went to the studio and talked for 3 hours, and then I went to a premiere. And I you can hear it in my voice. I am talked out.
Yeah.
So if I went to the grocery store right now, I'm going to the self-checkout lane because I don't want to be like, hi. I want to be nice to people if I'm in an actual with an actual cashier.
Well, sometimes there's 6 self-checkout lanes open, and there's 1 cashier in the regular lane. So I'm going to the self-checkout.
Well,
I'm not going to stand in
choice.
line. I'm not going to sit there in line.
Right, but that's still a choice that's taking away more jobs.
I know.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what you're getting with Amazon. You're getting people who are like, they want their stuff before they even order it. They want it sitting there and going, oh, yeah, I was going to order
But I
that.
didn't have to wait in lines 5 years ago, or like, let's say 8 years ago. There used to be fully staffed. There used to be like
That's true.
5 checkout lanes open so I could go through, and that would be great. But I don't have 20 minutes to wait in line, and that's oftentimes what happens at my local Ralph's.
I suppose that's probably true. I don't know. Like I said, I guess I have a completely different life because, like these Jeff Bezos guys and all across the board, the more success they have, the less likely they're going to stay married. It's just weird. Whereas in my life, the more success I had, the closer I got to my wife and kids because you could actually count on them.
Before you couldn't count on me at all.
No, I couldn't.
If you didn't have money,
Right.
Without the success.
I'd be gone.
That's exactly right.
Bye-bye.
I know we get to watch Jeff Bezos' big wedding next week in Venice, so we'll see what.
he's getting
I'm sure
married?
that's going to come with a lot of criticism because I know the Venice locals are like, we cannot handle a big wedding like this. So
I guess that's a new movement that all of these countries are anti-tourists. They're having protests against tourism.
Really?
In a lot of
Oh, yeah, I
places
saw
that
that.
really their only economy is tourism. They're like, we're sick of it. We're sick of them coming every summer and wrecking our beaches. We can't go out and do our stuff ourselves, blah, blah, blah. It's like, but
yeah,
your
it's the
economy.
over-tourism.
Huh?
I think if they regulate it, it's called over-tourism is kind of
Yeah.
what they,
Yeah,
and I
the
think
movement.
like if they said, hey, you have to make a reservation and we've got, room for 1,000 people every day, maybe that helps, situations or whatever of like moving people through at a better pace instead of just mobs of people.
I don't know. I mean, their economies need tourism.
They do. It's true.
Yeah, it is true.
I mean, if you look at any of the islands, it's all it is. They don't have any other commerce.
So, Kristen Burt, is it just me or is my daughter now a saint?
Oh, she's
I'm on the
What's
sun. I'm on the sun.
Oh, I thought it was a glow around your head.
Because
It
we have,
does
an
look
excessive
like-
heat, we have an excessive heat warning here this weekend, so
Oh,
I'm on
true.
the sun.
Okay.
It does
gonna-
look
I love
like,
it. She changes it every day.
Yeah,
I
she
do.
sure
What am I
does.
going to do every day?
Every
You
day
never know.
she changes it.
I know, it kind of is a little bit of a saint circle thing.
Yeah.
It's all
I'll take
true.
it.
But the kids are going to Bible camp, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
exactly.
There you go.
Yep.
I
what I
suppose. So,
say.
Michael,
Leaning in.
what's the latest with you?
No, just working away, getting ready for another Winona trial starting next week. So
Another Winona trial.
against
What does
the
that
Diocese
mean?
of Winona. So there's a trial going on down in
Oh,
Rochester.
okay.
And it keeps getting moved, but it looks like we're going to try one starting next Monday.
So what's the problem?
What do you
It's
do?
sexual abuse by priests.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yep.
Are these old cases or new cases?
Oh yeah, these are old cases.
Oh.
They're cases out of the product of the window open 2013 to 2015 that just now eventually got to where they're getting tried, and there's 40 of them lined up, and we'll see what happens.
I did not know this, but when I was a kid, fifth, sixth, seventh grade, no, fifth, sixth grade, I suppose it probably was, that there were three boys in my class that were being molested by a priest and a nun.
There are probably more, but
I never
yeah.
even heard of it.
There are probably
I guess
more
I wasn't
under
an
the
attractive
system.
kid, so
And well, you're probably too loud.
Weird.
that's probably what it was. You're right.
There's certain. They look for certain. There's
assess
definitely a
the
pattern
situation.
on what they look for. You had a strong mother figure, so you had
Yeah,
somebody at home.
yep.
And you were bigger, and they kind of stayed away. Plus, you were also the youngest, so you didn't have other kids to protect. And often they
Yeah,
go
that's
after
true.
the older brother
Yep.
because they would use, we're going to go after your younger kids if you don't follow through with what we tell you to do. So it's all predator work, and you just weren't the right sheep.
I was not the right
Oh,
sheep.
there was just a horrifying story about was it a senator, a congressperson that just was found with, I don't even know how much porn.
You have to be
And
much more specific.
It's all over,
Nationally?
it just, yeah.
Or
just,
statewide?
It's nationally, I believe. It's all over the internet.
I missed today?
Oh, yeah. It was
missed
all
that
over
today.
the place.
Really?
Yes, real. And he was using, I guess he's a Republican, but he was using Joe Biden names for
God.
his predatory behavior online.
Oh God.
Yeah, I guess it was really, really bad. The images that I mean, I can't believe. Why can't they find the people that are producing this stuff?
Well, because lots of it's off out
dark
of the
web.
United States. So,
Oh, it is?
So it's
Yeah.
that's one
I
of the
mean,
problems.
toddlers
Yeah,
and all.
it's crazy.
Just
Yeah.
horrible.
And-
I don't understand why. How? Okay, even if it's out of this country, why isn't anybody protecting children everywhere?
Right.
Because there's a lot of countries that it's not a high priority.
Yeah.
And they don't have the same laws we do.
Well, there's a lot of. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of this is coming from third world countries where there's like they're barely able to keep their population from just like slaughtering each other, much less that sort of thing. International child trafficking
No, it's
worries.
just absolutely disgusting.
But it even happens in this country. I just read a story today about a young woman, and her father was finally arrested. She had 3 kids by her father because she
Oh,
had been raped
God.
consistently. And she said, I told the school. She's like, I told my guidance counselor. CPS had come numerous times, and she said my grandmother had a connection at CPS, and they made the case go away several times. And I was like, there's going to be a big lawsuit
So
out of
the
that one.
grandma was complicit.
Yep, she lived with her grandparents and her father.
I have a friend whose grandmother molested her.
Really?
Yeah.
I
I had
didn't know
never
that.
heard of that until she told me her grandmother did. I was like, what?
That's very weird.
That must
I
not be
just
very
finished-
attractive. Not in school, not in my family. No, I was
It has
never
nothing
picked.
to do with being attractive.
That has nothing to do
No,
with
it's,
that.
yeah, it's not a. Yeah,
being
it's,
vulnerable.
Yeah.
Well, I was
just
not
finished
vulnerable,
reading
that's true.
Jeanette McCurdy's. I've listened to the audiobook, but she was
Yeah.
a big Nickelodeon star.
She
and
was what's her name on iCarly? The
she
blonde.
was Sam Puckett.
Sam Puckett. Yeah, Sam.
Yeah, Sam Puckett. And her memoir was I'm Glad My Mom's Dead. And she was sexually abused by her mother. But she didn't have it wasn't, she didn't know what it was because her mom would always be like, I need to shower you. And so
Oh,
she
God.
and she cleansed her up until she was 17 years old. And, until she really understood what was happening. And it took years of therapy to undo all of that.
Yeah, because I mean, I suppose if you're like, your mother is probably the person you trust most in the world. Sorry, Dad, but it's just kind of like it's true. It's just, it's when you come out of somebody, it's just
Yeah, I suppose.
how
yeah,
it
that's
works
true.
sometimes. And so if your mother is like, oh, this is normal and this is what we do, and it's like, I guess
Yeah,
you're
she
like,
called her
oh,
mom.
sure.
Yeah, she called her mom her best friend until she went to therapy and goes, oh, your best friend doesn't do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the fallback. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
there's
suppose,
a
yeah.
lot of the predators use so many different lines. It's horrible.
Yeah,
And then
sorry.
and then on top of it, they use lines that are just so incredibly gross that it's horrible.
Well,
So-
I don't know why I'm so surprised at this. Look at what's happened in the UK. I mean,
Oh, God, yeah.
that guy that got out of jail for making that documentary,
Oh.
he's really listing all of the stuff that these rape gangs did to these girls. And these girls were getting arrested when they reported it.
Yeah.
13
Why?
years of age, they would get arrested.
For what?
Because it was racist to say that this Pakistani
Oh,
man was
God. Oh,
raping them
God.
daily, gang
I
raping
am getting
them.
so sick of that argument. It's just unbelievable.
I mean, some of the stuff that he's listing, you're just like, how can anybody be this horrible to another human being?
Yeah, they're doing a what's it called? An inquest, I think.
Well,
Something
this
like
is,
that.
Oh,
They're-
they've
In
been,
England,
this has
yeah.
been going on for 15, 20
I know,
years.
but they're finally actually like going through the data and like looking at all the reasons that people gave for
Yeah.
passing the buck and stuff.
And a lot of it is women on
Apparently-
councils that
a
were
lot of
letting
it
this
is-
happen.
yeah,
Because they
a
were
lot of
so
it-
afraid of looking racist.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Well, there's England's got different
Disgusting.
liability laws on statements that are made that we don't have.
Yeah, but
and-
there's a lifestyle choice to be raped multiple times a day by 15
Yeah.
guys. That's a lifestyle choice, they were saying, for a 13-year-old to make that lifestyle choice. Isn't something wrong? They had fathers that were going into these homes trying to get their kids out of there, and they were arrested. It's the most unbelievable story in the world. That it's, I mean, and this is in the UK. This isn't some crazy little horrible place where everybody's, fighting for a scrap of food. It's the UK. Awful.
that rep is South Carolina Robert John May, apparently. So he's facing 20 years in prison.
Yeah, didn't he use a bunch of Joe Biden names for
That's what it says.
his dark web?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Unbelievable.
Child sexual abuse material.
Oh my God, it's just awful.
terrible.
When are we going to be able to shut down media completely?
Well, AI
Just
is going to
no
do that for us.
media.
We don't want to do that.
That was what I
Don't
walked
worry,
in
Tom.
on.
AI's coming for you.
Yeah.
Kristen,
Well-
I saw an article today that Whoopi Goldberg on live television said that black people in America are treated worse than anyone in the Middle East.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't either. Come on.
Raiding
Whoopi
churches
has
and
to make
killing everyone
inflammatory
inside.
statements so that she can keep a nice, cushy, well-paying
Yeah,
job.
I was going to say,
That's her job.
We don't pay attention to the view.
No.
Yeah.
No, I suppose
It is
not.
amazing
No.
that thing is still on the air.
I know. Who's
unbelievable.
watching?
Well, I feel like if people didn't share their insanity comments all the time on social media, it would
Yeah.
go away.
Yeah, it probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
but
we
it's
write
just like-
articles about it because people click through of the inflammatory headlines.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sadly.
Yeah, I suppose
Exactly.
that's true. I'm just thinking of growing up in the worst neighborhood in all of Minnesota, and to my knowledge, none of that stuff happened in my neighborhood.
It did happen.
It probably did, but you
It
didn't hear
happened in the
about it.
shadows.
Yes, it
That's
did.
the
I
sad
suppose.
thing. It happened in the shadows.
The only thing we ever had problems with is when you go over to your friend's house and Dad was drunk, and you go, "Oh, Bernard, what are you doing here again?" That's the only trouble I ever had. I just, why did people want to do? When you were a little child, didn't you dream of someday meeting this woman or man, and you could fall in love, and you could get married, and you could have a family, and they'd have a family? What happened to that?
The Leave It to Beaver lifestyle.
Leave
Yeah.
it to Beaver. Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I was a kid. I told my mom, I'm like, I'm never getting married. I'm never having kids. So I did get married, but I didn't have kids. My
No.
mom's like, I knew you wouldn't.
Why didn't you want kids?
I'm come from a large family, and I did a lot of babysitting and
I've
childcare
heard
as a
that
kid.
so many times.
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
I'm good. I mean, and I was happy with it. Like, I love kids, and I know I'd be a great parent, but it wasn't my dream. So
Yeah, my
I'm okay. I'm okay with it. It's
Yeah.
like, and people are like, but you're going to get older and you're going to wish. And I'm like, no, I'm actually good.
A lot of people don't want to have kids anymore.
Well, especially like Kristen said, my friend Vicky, she had 7 little brothers and sisters, and she was a primary caretaker for them most of the time because her mother was incapable of helping a lot of times.
Right.
Never wanted kids.
I always wanted kids, but only 2. So that worked out really well.
But
Perfect.
did you
number.
want these kids?
Well, no. I mean, that's a good question
I'm like,
right
wait
there.
a minute.
It's one to be general about it.
Yeah,
You know.
that's exactly right.
I know we got lucky. I had a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably would have had more kids if I hadn't been almost
Dying.
Yep,
dying
me too.
when I had
I was
kids and
planning
also
on
sick
having-
as hell when I was
Yeah,
pregnant.
Alex, I remember when you were like starting to do your whole like having kids thing.
Started to do the whole having
what I
kids
mean.
thing.
You were
Kids
talking
thing.
about having like a whole
5 kids.
bunch of them. Yeah.
Wanted so many kids.
And then it just.
Well, pregnancy
horribly
was
ill.
Yep.
absolutely horrendous for me. So I was like, I can't do this again. I couldn't have raised the kids I had while I was pregnant.
No.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
No,
I
you're
couldn't have
bedridden
done-
when you're
yeah.
that sick.
So
it's
I
terrible.
was like, well, I should probably focus on the kids I have.
Well, I remember when I was pregnant with you, and Andy was 2, and I was having all that morning. Well, what's it called? It's not morning sickness.
Hyperemesis gravidera.
Hyper, yeah.
Yeah, when I had that.
Oh yeah, that.
When I had that,
Yeah,
I was
that.
literally over the toilet bowl throwing up, and Andy's standing next to me, and he's pretending to throw up too and laughing, trying to like get my attention.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this poor kid.
know.
I'm so sick.
Oh yeah, Fawn. I have memories of Fawn. I'm like over the toilet throwing up. She's like, 18 months old or something, like patting my back. I'm like, this is sad.
So sad. So, Catherine, you passed that on to
I
Ashley.
did. You know, it's
Apparently.
weird.
So lucky.
No.
My mother said she felt the greatest she
I know.
ever felt when she was pregnant.
really
She could
hoping.
leap over fences
Yeah.
and have the most stamina in the whole wide world. Felt great. Had 5 kids. Loved being pregnant. My sister horribly ill. Me horribly ill. You horribly
no.
ill. I know.
I guess it skips 2 generations.
I don't
Yeah, maybe
know.
that's
I know.
fine.
Maybe Fawn will have easy pregnancies if she decides to have kids. We'll
Yeah.
see. I don't know.
We'll see.
It really
I don't
does
know. I
suck.
just,
a
like I
good
said,
time.
it was my dream from the time I was a little kid. It all worked out wonderfully for me. So
Yeah.
Suck on it. That's all.
Well,
Okay.
geez.
Wow.
Some people just
Oh,
aren't
that's a
that lucky.
lollipop. That's not what it means. Settle
right.
down.
Is that so?
I
What is
wouldn't
with
say that
that-
in front of Alex with her halo.
What were we watching the other day? And the guy was selling some sort of custom knives, and it had a little hole in it.
Oh,
He kept
yeah.
on saying, "Finger the hole."
Finger
Oh
the
my
hole.
God.
What, for a knife
He kept-
commercial?
And on a commercial on
I was
television.
like, "What the hell?"
Said finger the
How
hole.
did that pass standards?
Seriously.
It was
believe
a chopping knife. Very, very sharp
I
chopping
think they were like
knife.
hunting knives. Yeah.
No, it was chopping. It was food knife. But it was
Okay.
very sharp.
Yeah.
Well, it was used to like take the skin off of animals too, I guess. Or, I don't know.
Chopping, skinning animals.
I don't know.
As those are very common.
That would be a
You can get them
hunting
at
knife.
Target.
Don't people
And then
anymore?
the sheath. He kept on talking about the sheath. It was just like,
Oh, yeah.
Very sexual, it sounds like.
It was.
Say,
It was
this
very
is-
sexual.
Sounds wildly inappropriate.
I still, to this day, if I have a long day at work or whatever, I don't do a 4.5-hour morning show anymore, so that took away quite a bit of that time. But I always couldn't wait till I got home to my family. That's amazing to me. I wanted to get home and see my family every single day I possibly
Because
could.
we're all so lovely.
That's what it is.
are.
You're so magnificent.
Very lovely.
But I mean, you were very close to your kids.
Yeah.
And they,
Yeah,
you know,
spend
it's
as
a
much time as
wonderful.
I can with them. Although the older they get, the harder it is.
Well,
Right.
there is
That's
that
true.
too. Yes.
Sure.
But no, when my father was hauled off of to the mental institution, several parents in my neighborhood came over and said, "Tommy, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it."
Oh, yeah.
They came to my house and said, "We'll take care of you. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, close-knit communities are nice if
Oh,
you can find
God.
them.
It was one of the Laurent family, the O'Brien family, Andy Fisher's family. You get on the list. We'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. It was amazing. I guess you don't hear that anymore, huh?
Well, it depends
Or, I was
on where
just
it
a
is. I
wonderful
mean,
kid. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, it's probably it was you.
It was all about me.
Yeah.
I don't know, Kristen. The world is getting weirder by the minute, don't you think?
That's true.
I just.
No lies told.
Yeah, that's very
Is
true.
it? I mean, to me, it seems, and maybe I don't know. Well, I'll say it. Money has changed everything now. It's all people care about now is money. It drives me crazy. Once you get off your ass
Well,
and make some, that'd help
It
you.
used to be that the majority of people were in the middle class.
Yeah, that's true.
And now that pool of people has been shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So now there's a lot more have everythings and a lot of have not hardly anything.
Yeah.
And that has definitely changed people.
Well, see, and I'll ask an attorney. Don't you see, because I see it in my end of the business, and you being in law, that the more money people get, the happier they are, and they want more and more and more. It's not like it used to be. Hey, I make a nice living, everything's good. Now it's like, nope, I got to make more money. And if I have to screw somebody over to do it, I'll do it.
I think there's that percentage of people that
Yeah,
are like that.
yeah.
I think
Always
there's
have
always
been.
been.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah,
It's-
probably true. It's always been that way.
And
But
you know, it's
It's just harder for people to get by. 2 incomes, and it doesn't pay for daycare. I mean, daycare, the monthly fee for some people, I see these in big cities, and I go, "What? You're spending? It's larger than a mortgage payment."
Yeah.
And I understand you want your kids to be in great care. We all agree upon that, but the daycare workers aren't making that much money
No.
either.
Yeah.
So where's the money going?
I think the average family with 2 children in daycare, one of the entire incomes of the parent goes to daycare.
Yeah,
Oh,
which makes
yeah.
you. Well, actually, I did a similar calculation like a few months ago. Melissa was like, she wanted to add more hours to her work
Yeah.
because she was only putting in like 5 hours of work a week or something like that, and she was
what are
like,
you
okay,
saying? It's all I put in the podcast.
that's true, but
You think about it nonstop, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
for
true.
real.
That is true.
Your mental hours are how many hours are there in a week?
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
But yeah, she wanted to increase her hours, and I was like, well, I mean, okay, so we got kids. What do we do? And she's like, all right, well, I have a babysitter lined up for this hourly rate. So for the additional hours, we'll have the babysitter watch the kids, and then you'll come home, and then
How
the
much is a
babysitter will go home.
babysitter these days?
And I did the math, and I said, if we do that, you would be working an additional 15 hours a week for negative $2 an hour.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So
It's like $25, $30 an hour for a babysitter in
She should
LA.
I was saying she should become a babysitter.
yeah, it's literally you lose money putting kids in childcare or having a babysitter to go to work. So it's worse than not working at all.
Well, there have been many studies. Excuse me, my allergies are kicking my butt today. That second incomers, a lot of times, especially if they push. Well, if they push the family income up above into another tax bracket, most of the time, by the time you get done with transportation costs to and from work, having to have work clothes, all of that, it ends up, most people are negative. But women don't want to give up having a job because they don't get any credit or any accolades for being a stay-at-home mom.
Sure don't.
I mean, you don't need credit or accolades, though.
Well, you almost get treated like, we're not talking to you at cocktail parties because you don't have a job. You're just a mom.
Okay, you can see people on social media, like women being like, my husband makes enough money and I'm a stay-at-home mom. I like raising my kids. And everyone in there is talking about how her husband is going to leave her destitute.
Yeah, you're just a handmaiden.
Yep, exactly. Yep. She's basically a slave for her husband. And it's like, they hate stay-at-home moms. Yep. It's the weirdest thing.
It's very strange.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay-at-home non-mom Kristen Bird has to go.
She doesn't have to stay at home. She
doesn't have to stay at home.
I'm working from home. So.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Actually, I'm a full-time stay-at-home cat mom. That is the truth.
There you go. Well, thank you very much. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you, Kristen.
See y'all tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Michael Bryant in studio. Do you want to do a little intro to your commercial?
Sure. Let's see. We'll talk about cell phone use on the roads. We've been working on punitive damage motions when we get those cases, which means we're asking the judges to allow us to go ahead against a person for punitive damages because they're using a cell phone, because it's against the law to use a cell phone while you're driving. And that's just one of the other efforts we're trying to do to get people to stop using their cell phone while they drive.
I like how many people I see with their cell phones in their hand, like, they're holding a plate.
Oh, yeah.
On the speakerphone, as if that's better.
Yeah.
You're still holding the phone in your hand.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing, they're actually looking at the person they're talking to, which,
That too, yeah.
It's one thing to have the phone up to your ear, but when you're just watching it, I just don't know how you think you're watching anything on the road.
Yeah.
And too many things happen on the road too quickly.
Yep.
We'll be right back after an additional word from Bradshaw and Bryant. From Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. What's up, Allie?
Oh, not much. Doing my usual thing of telling people they shouldn't be texting and driving. In Minnesota, you can't have your phone in your hands. You can use, hands-free, but you can't have your phone in your hands for whatever reason. And that's why they made the law the way they did, so that police officers could see a phone in your hand and you got no excuse for why you got it there.
Do people know that that's the law?
I hope so. I mean, they used to follow it, and then kind of COVID kind of made people forget, and now it's like a freewheeling world out there with cell phones.
Let's say you get pulled over because you do have a phone in your hand and you're not watching where you're going. You got to be in pretty big trouble then, I would guess.
Well, the first one's not as bad. It's the multiple ones, the problem. And once people start stacking them up, then they have a big problem. And then what we're doing in car accidents is we've started bringing motions for punitive damages, because I'm trying to use the civil law any way we can to stop this, because it needs to stop.
Whenever I'd had any problems in my life, who was that I called again? It was like an MB, something like that.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
You're listening to me, your customers are listening to me, and they'll hear me promote your business. Tom Bernard Podcast attracts thousands of listeners who are loyal, engaged, and ready to support businesses they trust. Our podcast has helped numerous businesses increase traffic, sales, and brand recognition. We're not just about ads, we're about results. Whether you're a local business or a national brand, we offer custom advertising packages designed to fit your unique needs and goals. Our audience spans multiple demographics, allowing you to target your ideal customers with precision, from millennials to baby boomers and everybody in between. So here's the deal. Increase your brand awareness. With the broad reach of this show and passionate following, your business will see increased visibility and awareness, translating into more customers and sales. Did anybody get a hold of Jay Marie?
Andy's.
No answer.
She just sent me the message.
I don't know.
You tried.
Oh, wait. Calling back.
Okay,
There
good. She's
we
calling
go.
back. Good. Now she'll pop it on right in time. I've known Jay Marie, God, well, I'll wait till she comes on, but I've known her for a long time. We're going to be talking about the MSRA, Back to the 50s. Did you go to those things, the Back to the 50s deals?
I've seen them, but no, I haven't.
Oh, he's got your mic off.
I know.
I suppose I should have set up this phone number before the show started. I thought it was already set up. That was the problem. Andy, you good? Oh, he's not good to go yet.
No, he's still on the phone.
So
But-
are we on?
No.
Your mic is not
For some
on.
reason, your mic's not
Yeah,
on.
and I don't know why. He's turning on you, man. That's all I have to say.
Andy's cutting me off.
I gotta remember.
There you go.
Go.
There you
You
go.
should be on now.
I'm on now?
There we go.
Okay. No, I've never. I've seen them, but I don't think I've intentionally gone to any of those type of shows. I've been to car shows. I mean, I actually met Jim Rice.
Did you?
At a car show in 1974.
We're in Boston?
In Providence.
Oh, in Providence.
Civic
That makes
Center.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
So nice guy, I heard.
he was. Yeah, it was incredible. He kept saying it wasn't him. You know, that's
did-
how
oh, did he
kept
really?
talking to me, yeah.
Did he really?
And
That's
then,
hilarious.
As we're sitting there, Freddie Lynn came loping by, and he said, "Oh, gotta go." And they got back to signing autographs. So then when I got up there, he handed me like 20 signed that he just handed to me.
Oh,
So-
was he-
Nice.
I talked to him a couple of times. Never one time in person and once on the phone. He was always very nice to me.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So,
He really is a very, very nice.
and he's
guy.
a Hall of Famer, just like you.
Here we
you
go.
I had a lawyer question.
Oh,
So on the interwebs,
interwebs.
you see these people are now backing into people for, scams.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens to you, and you don't have a dash cam, what should you do?
Just call the police and tell them what happened, and then tell your insurance company what happened. And
But isn't that your word against somebody else's?
Sure.
Sometimes a car of 5.
yeah, sure, but the reality on that is there's probably not much of an impact, and so if you cut it off right at the beginning
Okay.
and tell them right off the bat that's what happened, it'll get dealt with, and it probably is not that going to end up being that big a deal. Now, can there be horror stories out there of things happening? Absolutely, but that's why you got insurance to cover that fight, and that's why you want to tell the police right away about what happened.
Okay.
As somebody that's been run into in a parking lot 2 times in the last 6 months.
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
But you weren't hurt?
No.
Good. That's the very
Did you
best
call
thing.
the police?
I didn't call the police in either one.
Police won't normally come
Yeah.
to a parking lot because it's private, and they'll just say, no,
Yeah.
we're not going to
Oh, yeah.
come there. I mean, if somebody's hurt really bad, then,
Yeah.
they'll call an ambulance. But lots of times police will say, we're not going to
Yeah.
show up for that.
I didn't call the police, but I called the insurance company right away. Like the first time I called my insurance company, and then the second time I called I called my insurance company, and then they were like, you need to call her insurance company, because if you talk to her insurance company and you file it through them, you don't have to pay your $500 deductible.
Oh, there you go.
But if you go through your company is going to go after them to get their money back. And when they get their money back, they have to get your deductible back.
Yeah.
So
That's what happened the first time.
Right.
I know, it's confusing.
It's
But
all confusing.
the second time that it happened, the woman took full responsibility. She's like, yes, I wasn't looking, and I ran right into her, and she was just parked out of the way, and I hit her. So, like, that was very easy. But the first time it happened, the woman, even though I wasn't moving, I was backing out of my parking spot, and then I stopped because I saw her backup lights go on, and then she just whipped out of her spot and ran into me, and I was honking my horn at her because I was like, But she apparently was trying to say part of it was my fault. But then I talked to my insurance guy, and he's like, no, we're going after her. Like, it's obvious, because she drove a Tesla, and her car should have, like, been warning
Beeped
her.
all over
Should've
the
been
place.
beeped,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he was like, there's no way that you, like, had anything, you were just sitting there in your car. I'm like, yes, I was.
There you have it. How we doing, Andy?
She is on the phone.
Oh, good.
Hey, Marie. How many years have I known you?
Can you hear that sweet sound behind me?
No.
What is it? What's going on behind you?
That is the beautiful sound coming out of business. That's his the label here on his car, and I think it's a 1937. We're getting ready for Back to the 50s here at the kickoff at Mancini's.
Oh God, that's right. You're at Mancini's today. Why'd you have that?
We are.
Yeah, right when I was going to be on the show, I don't get to go to Mancini's. That's fair.
There it is.
There it is. Now we can hear the revving.
There's some street rods. MSRA Back to the 50s, Minnesota Street Rod Association Back to the 50s weekend, June 20th, 21st, 22nd, 2025 at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Take it away, J. Marie. This is a great event. And by the way, Mancini's really is a wonderful place. I was being serious.
Pat, yeah, thank you. Pat is just so kind to host us every year for this kickoff. It's the first time for many of the Rodders to get back together since last year. And it really is. Tom, I think I told you I've been doing this show for like 40 years.
Yep.
These cars were new when I started. It really is.
Yeah, working the crowd.
Yeah, we have been around for a while, but so is this event. It's 51st year. It is the largest outdoor street rod show in the nation.
Wow.
So it is something Minnesota's really proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And all the participants come from all over, a lot of Midwest, but other countries as well. People actually ship their car in to participate.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so it kicks off tomorrow. Well, it kicked off today for having the lunch, but it actually kicks off for the people to come and see tomorrow, correct?
Absolutely. We open the doors at 8 a.m. tomorrow, 8 to 10 tomorrow and Saturday. So we'll have plenty of cold water available. It's going to be a warm one.
Oh, that's what I hear.
There's something for everybody out there. Kids games and shopping and the cars and the people who really just come back year after year, generation after generation to gather in community and relax and share beautiful cars.
You know, I got to throw a line at you that a friend of mine, Andy Fisher, said to me years ago. He's my best friend. And we were talking about this, like you said, many, many years ago. I said, that MSRA Back to the 50s, and it's really kind of cool, all these different kind of cars and all the rest of it. And I wonder why, I never went for that kind of thing. And Andy said, might have something to do with the fact your dad's cars always got repossessed. Thanks, Andy. Really appreciate it.
I think, yes. Good point. My dad never had a car that would want to be remade either, Tom. We had really practical, boring ones, but there's something for everyone out here.
I suppose. Just a couple of things that are happening all weekend, June 20th, 21st, 22nd. 200-plus commercial vendors, indoors and out throughout the fairgrounds. Ladies Showcase, the North End Event Center. That's Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Sunday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., Cruise and Arts Craft Fair Education Building. That is a great place to hold a venue. It's a great venue to hold a celebration like this. It really is.
It really is. We are blessed to have this state fairgrounds. I will tell you, there is not an inch of the fairgrounds, and it's so hard to describe to people that haven't seen it. There's not an inch that won't have a street rod on it by mid-morning tomorrow morning. They start rolling in at 6 a.m. The entire fairgrounds, the midway, out of the parking lot. It is. It's unbelievable.
It's a wonderful show because you wander around, you see all these cars that you've seen maybe in movies, certainly when they went to, what was that one movie about the 1950s, Harrison Ford starred in it?
American Graffiti.
American Graffiti, yeah.
Oh, God.
All kind of cars like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're beautiful.
Yeah, there's one-of-a-kinds out here. I mean, and every car's got a story. If you take the time to talk to some of the owners who are proudly sitting with their cars, I mean, you'll hear about if they found it out in a barn, if they found it wherever, how many years and hours they took to build. And they build it in a team. I mean, often somebody will be short a part or short of this or that, and people just work together in this car community. It's really fun.
Wow. No question. So it's tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. You open... Tomorrow you open at 9 a.m., is that correct?
8 a.m.
8 a.m.?
You can get up super early, yeah. The show opens at 8. A lot of the showcases and things don't open till 9, so you can get your breakfast in wherever you want. A lot of the fair food booths are open, so for me it's always the pre-state fair 5 pounds I can put on over the weekend.
Yeah, there you go. I'm glad I asked you that because Friday and Saturday it opens at 8 a.m., but Sunday it opens at 6 a.m.
That's because the Midway becomes a swap meet, and believe me, my kitchen table I bought there years ago, the most incredible collection of stuff you never knew you needed will be available from hundreds of vendors all over the Midway.
Well, are you going to give us a buzz next week and tell us how it went?
I'll send you pictures of everything I buy. I'm bringing my truck so I can haul it home.
So you are going to buy.
She needs a truck.
Yeah, maybe a new truck. You never know. I always find a car or two I fall in love with, but I have so far reserved from purchasing one.
Well, it's wonderful. I know you'll have a great time. J. Marie, it's only been about 40 years that I've been talking to you. That's about right.
you know, Tom, it brings back so many great memories, but we won't share all of those with everyone.
Okay. Why, did somebody get arrested?
Not that I remember, but
That's
Orange might have been in the mix, yeah.
Yeah, there
Anyway,
you go. All right,
thanks
well,
for having us. We hope to see your listeners, and you guys have a great day.
You too. MSRA back to the 50s car show again on Friday and Saturday opens at 6 a.m. And then on Sunday it opens at 8 a.m.
That kind of math is like when you think she's been doing it 40 years, so that's 85. So a 1950s car was already 35 years old at that point. I mean, it's 75 years old.
75 years old.
Jeez.
And if you think about it, in 1985, did 75-year-old cars exist?
No, at that point, probably not, because that would have been a
was like the Model T?
2010, so that might have been Model Ts.
A Model T came out, 1908, so just
yeah.
barely.
Wow.
Yeah, so there you go. It puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
Jeez. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It is wonderful.
75-year-old car in 1980 would have been a horse.
I wonder if you poll, like, the owners of those cars, what they think of, like, cars today, what they think
Yeah.
of the...
Gotta think they're a lot
Oh,
better.
I've got a lot
They
of-
gotta think they're a lot better.
Well, better. I mean, it's
We got a lot of
safer.
those in chat, and no, they do not.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking as far as design and as far as coolness and
Yeah.
you know those type of things.
Yeah.
It's,
Cars aren't cool anymore.
Yeah, well,
Not really.
Well, it's so interesting on Lake Street out in Wayzata. You still get those guys driving those hot rods, and they're loud as hell.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's every Saturday or Sunday? A lot of
Yeah.
them just park their cars
Yeah,
down
they do.
on the lake. I think it's Lake Street down there, and they just, I don't know, they just put their cars out there, and people come down and see them.
Are those run off diesel, or do they run off
I
ordinary?
don't know.
Yeah. What do they
That
run
I
off?
do
Probably
not
not
know.
diesel, I wouldn't think.
I tried to vroom my electric car, but it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah,
it's
you,
not gonna pan out.
yeah. You take your foot off and it stops.
I got stuck behind a Model T 2 days ago.
You
Really?
did?
Yep, an
And it's- actual
Model T.
And it was on the road.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, funny.
yeah. I was at a
Really?
light, and then it started accelerating, and it took a while to get up to speed.
My
I drove-
grandfather had something like that. I think it was like the next generation after Model Ts, whatever they were. It didn't have a hand crank.
Would it be a Model U?
Yeah, the Model U.
Model V. Anyway, I don't know whatever happened to that car, but I remember thinking, my grandfather is driving this Jed Clampett thing.
Yeah,
Is he very poor?
that's a possibility.
I drove some Model Ts in parades, a couple political
you did?
parades back in the 80s and maybe 90s. That was something because they wouldn't go very fast.
No,
You know,
no, they
and
did not go fast.
they were interesting drives because you kind of felt like they would fall apart at any point. You know,
She mentioned about parts. I wonder with 3D printing, can they just make parts for old cars now? If they've got the schematics, I would guess that they could just.
3D printing is plastic, though. They didn't really use plastic parts for cars back then, almost at all.
You could probably. I wonder if you could modify them in ways
Yeah,
that you could use them. I don't know.
Why don't we take our break here? You're going to hear from two Hunyucks in a row, Bilski and some other guy named Bryant.
Oh, there we go.
We'll be right back. Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Brian Thiel, president of Abrasives of St. Paul.
What I like best about North American Banking Company is the small town feel with great products and very good service, and I love the people. I would definitely recommend North American to other business owners. A lot of banks I could choose from, and North American Banking Company is the one.
So why not bank where I bank? With my friends at North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. That's nabanco.com, or stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. No, I'm not going to do it again, Andy. That's why I said Michael Bryant. That's why I introed the way I did.
I see.
Thanks. For Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. Michael, what's up?
Dealing with another case where a person gave a statement to the adjuster because they thought the person was really friendly.
Is that a good idea?
Well, the problem is they know the law when they call you up. And while you're trying to be fair and you're trying to get help, the reality is there are questions you get asked that the way you answer them make a big difference. And people put themselves in trouble. And when they aren't in trouble, they didn't do anything wrong, but suddenly the adjuster's got a statement that can blow up their case completely.
What has caused people to be so untrustworthy, I guess is the best way I could put it. They take advantage.
Well, insurance companies have hired adjusters whose job it is to deal with unrepresented people. So they're supposed to kind of lure them in, call them every day, see how they're doing, and people are like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Where the reality is they've kind of adjusted to their problem that they've got going on. So it's not that they're completely better, but the way they say it gets to be a problem. And that's why having somebody who can explain your rights, represent you, make sure that you understand the law before you give a statement can make a big difference in your case.
Michael Bryant, Bradshaw and Bryant. There's that music you need right there.
There you go, Speed Demon for the speedy cars.
Oh, it is Speed Demon. There's no question about it. I wanted to mention a couple of things about the MSRA Back to 50 show that are kind of cool. Military salute flyover at 11 a.m. on Saturday. I love those I was never in the military, but I love that military salute stuff.
Oh, sure.
I mean, it's very, very special, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Well,
A lot of people gave their lives for that in that situation. 2025 Great Race arrivals begin at 9 a.m. on Saturday, ceremony at 11:45. The race starts at noon on Friday and Saturday, model car show and contest in the Education Building. Live music Fridays and Saturday nights in the band shell. I love the band shell over there.
It has great acoustics.
It really does. And they'll close it out on Sunday with that huge swap meet from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. church service, North End Event Center. Ladies Showcase. It's at 9:30, And the closing ceremony for the MSRA Back to the 50 show will be at the band shell at 1 p.m. on Sunday. So there you have it.
Sounds like a fun weekend.
Oh, I think that's absolutely correct. No question about it. So what else is happening? Anything good?
As far as, I don't know, all sorts of stuff. I tried to dive back into Severance to see if I could get through that. It's boring. Did you guys watch that?
We
Severance?
watched one.
I'm trying to think.
can't-
Refresh my memory. I can't
That's
remember.
what we watched last night.
The
wasn't
separate
it?
brains where they have a different brain at work than they do at home.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
I just can't.
I agree.
That was like my third run at it, and I just can't do it. And I got probably 3 or 4 episodes in, so I gave it a run, but
Isn't
I
it very
just don't like
Twilight
it.
Zone feeling? Didn't you think?
I just thought it was dumb, and
Really?
I
Yes.
just didn't. The whole. I don't get why people love that series so much. But
How many seasons have there been?
2, I
there's only
believe.
been
Yeah, I
2?
think they got
Okay.
2. And then I went back into Mobland, and I actually got further
Mobland.
on that. Mobland's actually pretty good.
It is.
Once you understand it.
You hated the first episode. I don't know. I think
We
you
couldn't
were,
understand a word
I
anyone
think
said in the
until
first
we-
episode.
Yeah, until I got closed caption up.
Yep.
Especially the fixer guy. He's really hard
Hardy,
to understand.
Thomas Hardy?
He's hard
Yeah.
to understand. But it's a really good show.
Yeah, it's a good show. Yeah, and Mirren is quite the grandma.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Helen Mirren.
Got an edge to her? Is that what you're
Oh,
saying?
boy,
Got a
yeah.
little bit of an edge to her.
And then, we started watching Stick because you had mentioned that a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago.
And
I was
that's
like,
5 episodes in now, I believe. So,
Okay, I think we're on 3.
and that's good.
It's about
Yeah,
right.
it's
That's good.
I mean, Owen Wilson being Owen
Have you
Wilson.
gotten to 0 yet? No, let's see. Episode 3, I think 0 showed up, and 0's the gal who works at the golf course. Who?
No, I don't think we've gotten that far.
Who's
No, we're just at. He just talked the young kid into going on to Q school or whatever he's doing with him.
He's trying to get him the amateur to qualify.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
what he's trying to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you, when growing up, because I certainly did in North Minneapolis, you would go to a friend's house and you would hear brothers and fathers and sons talking to each other just like that, talking about things they could get away with, crimes they were going to commit. I heard that a lot as a kid.
Are you talking about Mobland?
Yeah.
I was like, I thought you were talking about Stick. I'm like,
No, I'm talking about Mobland.
Mobland. Okay, good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They'd have those kind of
Yep.
discussions, and you'd see stuff like that. That was different ideas that people had, and you'd hear stories about things that happened that were
Oh, yeah.
bizarre. So,
And it all came true, unfortunately, for some
yeah,
people.
yeah.
It's just the way it is, I
The
guess.
acting is really good in it.
in Mobland,
Mobland,
yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah. And there's a lot. It's a lot. It's a large cast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people involved in that. Some you know, and some you don't. I would guess some of them are more English actors that are known maybe more
Yeah.
in Europe than
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And then you get some that you've seen both way, in our here and there that are in stuff that.
Well, Helen Mirren just was in
Oh, that's
17 or 18,
Oh yeah,
whatever it was.
With
1912. I don't know what
1912.
year.
Harrison Ford,
One of the
right?
numbers.
With Harrison Ford.
Yep.
She's
Yep.
really been on fire. She's been in a whole bunch of stuff lately, and she's getting up there, isn't she?
Oh God, yes.
Thomas Hardy's wife in that has showed up on things like she was in. I think
Oh,
she
yeah,
was
she
in
was in
Downton
Abbey. I know.
but
When I
she's
saw
been
her,
in
I was
other
like, Downton
things.
Abbey.
God, I tell you, just watching that stuff go on, though, it reminds you so much of being a kid, and maybe not the best neighborhood in the state. One of those kind of deals.
A little bit. I
hope
didn't
not.
see the number of murders that are in it.
Good
you know?
Lord.
There were a lot of murders when I was a kid,
Well,
including 3 of my uncles, as a matter of fact. So that's, honest to God, you'd come home from school once in a while, Toots would be over sitting at the table with tears in her eyes, like, somebody else get killed? Yes. I'm like, oh, God.
Or she had bills she couldn't pay.
Yeah.
Well,
Different world.
that's a possibility, too.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. No, I don't. TV, there are some really, so getting back, what's it called, Stick?
Stick, yeah.
Yep.
That's a pretty good show.
It's good. You know, you got some stuff coming up. Like I said, once you get this character Zero, I'm interested to see what you guys think of Zero.
Okay.
I'm still kind of, I don't know. It's a very different role.
It
you
is.
know, and
It is.
but Owen Wilson does a good job, and I really like that Murrow guy. I think it's Murrow. He's the ex caddy who's driving who drives the
Mark Maron?
Mark Maron.
Yeah.
Maron, not Murrow. But he's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is very good.
It almost seems like that role was written for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's quitting his podcast, I heard.
Oh, I didn't know he had one.
Oh, Mark Maron
yeah,
has
he
a
had a big
huge
one.
podcast.
Oh, why would he quit that?
I don't know, but he was making a ton of money doing it, and I don't know why he's going to quit it.
He's been doing it a while.
Oh, a long time.
Well, you don't really hear about Adam Carolla's anymore. I mean, I know he does
that's
it,
true.
but it used to be that he was, that's what everybody talked about all the time, was who he had on his podcast. And I just don't hear that much about it anymore.
Oh, yeah, you're right. After 16 years, WTF with Mark Maron is ending.
Huh.
God, that's amazing.
Later this year. It's 16 years and 1,600 episodes.
Yeah.
1,600. Wow.
We are currently recording episode number 2799.
Wow.
Yeah, take that, Mark.
We got him beat. That's for sure. We're
Yeah,
coming, we're
kicking
coming
your
up on
ass.
episode 3,000.
And then Adam
Wow.
Carolla has retooled his, about 4 or 5 different times. And I don't know what he talks about anymore, but I used to always hear, oh, did you hear Adam Carolla's podcast? I don't hear that anymore.
When we started, that was like the big one, I think.
Yeah.
It was,
It
yeah.
was.
So coming up on 3,000, was it 500 that the big event was?
Yep, New Hope Cinema Girl.
New
that was
Hope Cinema
500.
Girl,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
500 where
I
Louis
remember
was there.
that.
I was there.
And that was a long time
wow,
ago.
it's coming up on 3,000. But
Yep.
didn't, with the multiple hours, didn't they used to get multiple numbers?
No, when it was one number per day.
Oh, okay.
And then I
thought-
would just do like -1, -2, -3.
Okay, I thought there was a time period where they had multiple numbers for a while, but okay, you would know.
Yeah, what is this?
That's something.
Yeah, there's a drill.
No, it's our water.
Oh, you got to just give it a kick.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Give it a kick.
The water
That's
cooler,
nice.
learn
the
that.
water chiller.
I'd learn what? To kick it?
To kick it.
Yeah, I
There's
don't understand
certain
that either.
solutions.
feel
You're like, how did anybody
I feel like
even learn
most
that?
mechanical things, if they're buzzing, you just give it a kick. 'Cause it mostly shuts up.
Wow.
It's usually
Okay.
something just vibrating.
Andy's got his headphones
Does she
back on.
kick
I
you on
got it.
occasion?
It's
Yeah,
not
that-
mechanical.
No, I'm not mechanical
any
at
way,
all.
shape,
That's
or
very
form.
true.
He doesn't shut up when you kick him.
Another show I got to bring up because the final episode was the most psychotic thing we've ever seen. Did you ever watch Righteous Gemstones?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
my
But
Did you watch the
God.
ending?
the latest season? I haven't seen the latest
Oh
season
my
yet.
God,
Oh, well,
ending.
the latest season, they're just going all out to be the most ridiculous,
Yep.
inappropriate people in the world for the
Yep.
first 3, maybe 4. We kept on going. Are they going to do this the whole season just because it's their last one?
Yeah.
So let's just watch one just to see. And then all of a sudden, I think after season 3, they stopped being quite so disgusting.
Oh, there are only 3 seasons.
No, I mean episodes in the
Oh,
last
episodes, yeah,
final
yeah.
one. And,
Yeah,
then,
that's
and then
true.
all of a sudden they started developing a storyline again. And I
Yeah,
thought the
that's
ending
true.
was perfect for it, Righteous
Oh my
Gemstones.
God,
if you
what an
like that
ending.
crazy ass show.
I like the show. I just haven't seen. I've watched. I think episode maybe 1. I've seen 1 for sure, maybe 2.
It's just so,
So.
it makes me laugh. I don't know why.
I know.
And Megan Mullally is on the final
is she?
season.
Okay.
She shows up.
Well, they've got real talented people on that show. You know,
They
they all
Well-
all the the brothers and sisters are real talented.
How they make it through filming any scene without, are you kidding me? I have to say this?
I know.
Are laughing their asses off. I don't know how they make it through filming. I really don't.
Probably all on ketamine.
Yeah, they might be because I don't know. It's pretty hard to say those lines.
Well, the last episode, you go through a lot of infighting, a lot of gunplay, and a gay marriage, all in the same episode.
Did the brother finally get married?
He finally gets married.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
I knew he was going to get married.
You did not know.
Well,
He never admitted to being gay until, or he hadn't
Right.
till now, I guess.
I don't know if that was last season or just this season where he finally came out.
I don't think he did last season.
Okay, so
he
it
always
must
had
have
that
been
guy that hung around with him.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
Keith.
Keith.
Both of them are dumber than a rock. That's the other thing.
Oh, my
about it.
God.
Really nice. But I mean, television. Well, I suppose that you got so many different outlets now that you better have some good things to watch. I would imagine.
Yes.
I mean, does that make any sense? One thing that is getting a little weird though is trying to find what you watched, but you didn't, register where it came from.
See, that's why
God.
we have Google TVs up here, and it doesn't do what a Roku does.
Oh, okay. I never did Roku, but yeah.
Roku's so much easier.
Every once in a while, I'll try to find a game, and it's like, how the hell do I find it? And then I find it, but it's like you go through all these different things. And then I was trying to find, when was it? Tuesday night, I think it was, or Monday night. I was trying to find the last game of the Pacers, Oklahoma City.
Oh, yeah.
And so I hit on this thing, and it's a video game, and they're replaying like a game in a video form. So it's like,
What?
It's like. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, look at this. You know?
Is the NBA championship over now?
No, it's tonight's
tonight's
game 6. It's in Indiana.
Game 6?
Indiana
Oh, my.
has to win tonight.
Right.
They really had a chance to win game 4 and they lost. And now they're down. They're behind the 8 ball, 3-2 right now. So
Do you think I should, before I die, give it up and not be pissed off that the Lakers moved to Los Angeles?
you
think maybe.
you can keep that grudge for your whole life. if
Honest
you
to
want. That's
God, that pissed
completely
me
fine.
off.
I
think
mean,
I
it
was
wouldn't
9
be you
years
if you
old.
weren't holding grudges.
Yeah, well.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a Barnard trait.
But I will never, I'll never forget. Matter of fact, I think I heard about that the same day that I saw John F. Kennedy drive by in a convertible downtown Minneapolis.
Really?
Yeah, he was staying at the Leamington, I think.
Was he president then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's the president of the United States. I think it was 1960.
Was he driving himself?
No, he was not driving
I wonder
himself.
who the last president is that actually drove. Probably
Yeah.
Clinton would be my guess. He probably drove himself someplace. Would be my
maybe.
guess.
They
But-
probably sneak out once in a
Yeah,
while.
but I think most of them. I don't know who the last one who regularly drove was. You know.
You know what's amazing about that is Andy, what year was that? Like 61, 62? Because you can find out
When the Lakers left.
When JFK.
Well, they'd be
visited
the same.
Minneapolis.
When he was assassinated?
No, he's
not
assassinated in
assassinated.
863. Yeah, you wouldn't have seen it.
No, I
unless
would
you were
not
in
have seen him
Dallas.
getting assassinated, thank God.
What were you doing in Dallas that day?
Yeah, exactly.
Last
Tom.
time JFK was in Minnesota?
In Minnesota. 61, I think, is when it was. Might have been 62.
Well, if it was the same time the Lakers left, that would give you the clue.
I suppose, yeah.
Sometime in there.
I did
a long time ago.
Lakers leave Minnesota. The answer for that would be 1960.
60. And
Okay.
then Kennedy came here in 60 or 61. I think 61.
So he
don't have that
got elected
information.
president in 60. I think that's right.
Yeah, so November of 60.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
the 1960 election.
Yeah.
Yep. So he'd have been here in
61 probably.
That's
When
what
he
I'm
beat
thinking.
Tricky Dick.
And
He
it was a
beat Tricky Dick.
convertible. It probably wasn't during the winter.
It was. It was a convertible. You absolutely pulled up in front of the Leamington. And for some reason, I don't even remember why, but I was about a block away, and there used to be a park right there in front. So
Was there a grassy knoll?
Yeah, luckily it wasn't a
warehouse.
grassy knoll. But I mean, that was a whole different. So, are you watching the basketball finals?
As much as I can. I'm
Yeah.
not watching it all the time, but I'm watching as much as I can. I watch the hockey. Hockey was actually very good. Hockey playoffs were really, really good.
Who won that?
Florida won it for the second year in a row.
Haven't they won last three teams to win the thing were from Florida, weren't
Just
they?
cracks me up how big hockey is in Florida.
Florida.
That's
Well,
you guys have no
yeah.
ice ever.
That's the transfer of Canadians. That's why Esposito went down there and created a team because they had so many retired Canadians that were moving to Florida.
Tampa Bay.
So Tampa Bay and then the
There's
Florida
three.
Predators. Do they have three hockey teams?
And the Panthers. right?
Well, let's see.
I think they have 3 hockey teams.
In Florida?
Who, Florida?
Yeah.
I think they only have 2.
Are you talking NHL? Or?
NHL.
Okay.
NHL, yeah.
Yeah.
They have 2. Yep.
2.
Oh, they have 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah,
Tampa
I said
Bay
Predators,
Lightning.
but it's
There
the
we go.
it's the Panthers, and they had got Brad Marchand. They got to Chuck, and they had another great year. So came back and won another state.
How about our teams in this state? How do they go?
Well, the Wild still is on their streak that we have not won a Stanley Cup in Minnesota, which is just unbelievable.
Unbelievable that that's even possible.
And then, we'll see. We got another year starting with the Vikings, so we'll see if the Vikings can finally break the
Never
jinx.
won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no
That's
Super
all I
Bowls
know.
there. And
So
Twins
now
are you still watching the Twins as much?
I was until about 2 days ago. They're making me want to vomit.
Yeah, they're
Can't
rough
hit
to
all of a
watch.
sudden.
They got killed by Texas.
They
Oof,
did.
They got beat bad.
Yeah, it's
So,
just not. They're going to have to do something. I thought
They
at the
won't.
beginning of the year maybe they
Don't
had
have
a
any
chance.
money.
What?
They don't have any money.
They have tons of money.
Thought
Yeah,
they
they
were in
just don't use it.
bankruptcy or
Yeah.
something. Or
they don't use it. They're getting sold.
the Twins, aren't they like $500 or $500 million in debt or
Yes,
something?
they are,
Yeah,
but
so that
that's-
means you have no money, right?
Well, they're the pole lads. They're billionaires, so I don't see how they could have no money.
Well, they're not going to throw money at that.
You know,
Well,
why would they?
it's been limited what they've done over time, and
That's no
that
doubt.
team is. But we got the stadium, and it's a nice place, and so.
It is a nice place.
It is
And good
indeed.
teams come here to play us.
Oh, well, great. I'm glad to hear it. We'll take a break, come back, and wrap things up right after this. I'm talking with my friends Michael Bilski and Brad Huckle of North American Banking Company. Guys, business owners have had to deal with a lot over the last few years, haven't they?
They sure have, Tommy. We pride ourselves on being able to help our customers with the challenges they face.
Our business bankers are experts and are always ready to help our customers capitalize on opportunities and solve problems.
Loan decisions come quickly because they're made here in the Twin Cities and not shipped out of state like at some of the national banks in town.
This allows our customers to expand their businesses with confidence, knowing that they have our team of experts in their corner.
Okay, so now you give me this big thing at the end. Way to go.
Well, you are the professional.
Oh, I forgot. Look, I know Brad and Mike, and I trust them with my banking. They've personally delivered on everything they've just said, so why not bank with my banker? North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Ladies and gentlemen, Twin Cities Savers Online Summer Auction starts Friday, tomorrow, June 20th, ends on Thursday, June 26th at 8 p.m. Where to bid? You can visit scorenorth.com, enter keyword auction to view and bid on items. Here's the deal. Save up to 70% off retail prices, tens of thousands of dollars in items up for grab. Zero-turn lawnmower, string trimmer, leaf blower from Tri-State Bobcat, electric bikes and a generator from EcoFun Motorsports. You got airport to hotel stays at the Intercontinental, which is a very nice place anyway for your next getaway. A 40-foot shipping container, private golf lessons to up your game, aquatic weed removal for your lake, and more. Here's the deal. Visit scorenorth.com and enter keyword auction to view, bid, and win. All right, another show come and gone.
In the can.
In the can. So what have you been up to lately?
Like I said, getting ready for trial, and that's the biggest thing. Watching stuff that's going on in the world and locally, and in the country, yeah, that's been the activities.
How long have you lived in Minnesota?
I've lived in I came to Minnesota in 1982, so that would be what 43 years.
43 years.
And but you've never really, or maybe I'm wrong, embraced the Minnesota sports teams. You've always kind of been a bigger fan of
I've
where you came
watched
from?
a lot of Minnesota sports
Yeah,
teams games.
right.
I've cheered for and been heartbroken by a number of results by Minnesota teams. But no, when it all comes down to it, if I had a choice, I always go with my
what's emotionally
Boston team.
way more healthy.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
to not.
Yeah.
Do your kids follow the same teams you do, or are they the home team?
They really don't follow sports.
Not at
They
all.
never really. They knew
Andy
some
never
stuff
did
with
either.
it, but they never really. They have a general. Like they go like going to Timberwolf games. I have season tickets to the Timberwolves. I've had partial tickets to the Twins. I go to Vikings games. So, but it's in the end, if I have a choice, I'll always go with Boston in the end.
Sure.
They give me an exemption when I cheer for the Celtics at the Timberwolves games. Although I still have never had a playoff game yet. So
really?
I wasn't. Well, I wouldn't even have been in Minnesota in '69 or '67. I was born. I was 3, but I didn't have it. But I've never had that where I've actually had a playoff game between Minnesota and Boston teams.
Wonder how much longer you'll have to live to see it.
Better be in baseball, and the way the Twins are going now, it ain't going to happen anytime soon.
With that trade on Devers, who knows? I don't know what the Red Sox are doing right now.
I don't know why are these weird trades happening right now? What's that all about?
Depends on which trade you're talking about, but a lot of it has to do with money or has to do with. I mean, what you had with Raffy was the owner flew out there and said, "Look, it seems to be told him, look, I'm paying you $300 million.
Yeah.
You should play first base. I know we moved you to DH, but you should play first base or at least try." Mm-hmm. And he said no, and I think they just decided. So, now he goes to San Francisco and apparently he's taking ground balls at first base. So
I know.
Why?
Why does that happen?
Are you happy or not? If you're not happy, then, be happy. So that's the goal.
I have a hard time with sports right now because the NBA has players that make $60 to $70 million a year.
Wow, but
unbelievable.
Jesus.
Whatever scale you look at, they've always had players that made more money.
Yes,
there were some sports like hockey and basketball in part, and probably baseball in the early years where there were guys who made money that didn't make much money at all. I mean, there's a classic story of Phil Esposito's wife trying to get him to quit hockey the year he was MVP because he made more money doing construction than he did.
He did,
being MVP of the NHL.
That's a very famous story.
But they've always made, especially the Stars, they've always made more money, and now they're making money that's generational that is leading them just quitting early.
I noticed this popped up on the news again. It pops up about 2-3 times a month. Do you think it's true that Babe Ruth came up to the plate, pointed to center field, and then hit the home run right to where he pointed?
Supposedly. I mean, he had that visit in the hospital with that kid.
Yeah.
Told him he was going to hit a home run, and then went up and hit a home run. So.
The right where he pointed, though. That's the weird part. Yeah. He pointed, I'm going right there, and he did it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So I suppose it has to be true.
Yeah. Wade Boggs always claimed he could do that. Like, Wade Boggs claims he could have hit 61 in a year, but that he didn't want to because of his batting average, and it would take away. He'd end up hitting more fly balls and strike out more.
Yeah,
and so he took what pitches he got that he couldn't hit for home runs, and he'd get hits. If a guy's capable of doing some of those things, why don't you just do that most of the time? I don't know.
Well, he hit like 360, didn't he?
Makes you wonder.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
but
I still love baseball.
It's strange that an incredibly good batting average is just barely better than striking out on average.
Oh yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, if you're 3 for 10 and can get 300, a little bit better than 300, you've got good numbers.
Yeah. Wouldn't you think like a legendary batter would hit like half the time? But
they don't.
Not even close.
You've also got legendary pitchers too.
Oh
so
God, you look at some of those guys, the way they can pitch and what they can do with that ball. You're just like, how does anybody ever hit that thing?
Yeah. You have you ever seen a slow motion video of someone throwing a fastball?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and then you wonder why they don't have shoulders anymore at the age of 25.
The way their arm just bends all over the place.
It's not good for you.
Go to one of those batting cages, put it at 85 miles an hour, and just let it and see what it's like to see an 85-mile-an-hour pitch coming at you now. And it's like, there's, and then you got guys who have curves, and you got guys that have all sorts of stuff that they put on it. Yeah, it makes a difference.
It is.
Baseball players are interesting people. I can't remember what the event was again, but I was sitting next to Herbeck talking to him about something, and later we talked about it on one of the shows. But I asked him a question about something. It's like, well, I mean, you got to admit, you had a pretty good career. Things went really, really well for you. And he went, yeah, they did. I hit a grand slam in the World Series. Yeah. I suppose that is pretty good, Ken.
He was quite the player.
He was indeed. Great guy, too.
That whole team was amazing.
You believe that he's 65 years old now?
I can.
Mm-hmm. Kent Herbeck is 65 years old.
Because that was a long time ago.
Yeah, when you see people, especially people that you remember that were older or same age, and It's crazy.
It goes
What
fast.
the hell?
Yep.
All right, that is going to do it. We'll talk. Yes.
Couple things.
Okay.
Remember, today is the last day for this week's Jack's Cafe giveaway. So go to x.com, go to Tom Bernard Show, and look for the pinned tweet. Comment there to be eligible for a $100 drawing I will do tomorrow. And then I wanted to get listener feedback on something.
Okay.
Melissa and I are going to be at the Palace Theater in St. Paul soon, and we want a recommendation for a place to eat within walking distance of there. So
Where's that in St. Paul?
I don't know.
Okay.
Palace
Somewhere,
Theater?
yes.
I
The
don't know
Palace
where
Theater.
that is.
So text us 612-361-6622 and let us know where you think we ought to go, and we'll look into it. I know
A lot of great
there's a
places.
bunch of options.
St. Paul Hotel is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah?
If the palace is near that. I
If-
don't know
yeah,
where
I
the
don't know where
palace
the
is.
St. Paul. I don't know where the palace is.
I don't either.
Let's find out,
Yeah.
shall we? Palace Theater, St. Paul. That would be... It's right next to Mickey's Diner.
Oh, so
Children's Museum.
oh, so
Oh, okay.
That area.
I don't know that are there any restaurants right in there? There used to be, but I don't know if there's anything right in there.
I mean, we can
there's a
walk
little
few
bit of a
blocks.
walk,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because there used to
to-
be that sushi place that was on the corner.
Yeah.
That was a block right across from Children's Theater. I don't think that's there anymore.
There's a Walgreens. We can get some Doritos.
Yeah, you almost have to go a couple of blocks in and a couple blocks south to get to to get St. Paul Hotel or to get to some of those restaurants that are still in there that are good. But I'm trying to think if there's anything. I mean,
St. Paul
there's-
Hotel looks like it's like 2 blocks south.
It's got to be.
So that's not too
But it's
far.
also a couple blocks down too.
St. Paul
from there.
Hotel's really nice.
Well,
Yeah.
that area is very like nothing is north, south, east, or west. It's
Right.
just, yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's weird. But you have to go towards the river and then down.
Yes.
Down from there, more towards the St. Paul Saints Stadium.
How about our favorite Italian joint, Catherine?
Oh, downtown? What's it called again?
Really?
Your favorite joint.
Cosettas.
Yeah,
Cosettas.
that's great, but
Yeah,
that's
great.
again
that's quite a walk.
That would be
Especially
in
at
the
night,
other direction.
yeah.
that
Yeah.
would be down here.
Especially at night.
That's why I can't think of anything right in that area. You go to Mickey's Diner.
Yeah. Yeah, Mickey's Diner.
That's an
is very
experience.
close, but yeah. I don't know. Maybe walking
I
distance
thought
is a
that
bit of an
shut
ask.
down.
No, it's still there.
No, it's back. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, did it shut down then come back?
It shut down for a while.
I think
Maybe it was
so.
just during
Believe. Yep.
COVID. I don't know, but I know it was shut
Huh.
down.
There you have it. Is that going to do it, Andy?
I think that ought to do it.
All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow.